for me, it's harder for me to submit to a man
That's what I think.
I can't submit to a man that I feel is equal to me. If you have to be older than me for me to do that. And it's just, I'm not saying it can never happen. I'm just saying it's easier for me to let go of, to surrender and to let go of control.
Yeah, women like that have that kind of domineering sense to them, they do have to one up the person they're with. And if it's not with their age, they're going to one up you with their money. Yeah, we've had some questions lately about would we date younger men? I guess some younger men have been asking us, would you ever be interested in a younger man? How you feel about that, and what's your whole take on it? I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting conversation because I feel like, I guess the flat out answer is no. I wouldn't date a younger man. Now, I think I'm more comfortable with older men. And I feel like you've always dated.
I've always dated older men.
Kara's always dated older men, but it's funny because a lot of men the men I've dated have all been in relationships with, have all been my age. If they are older, it's only like a year or two. And then I've dated one person that was older, and that changed the way I feel about dating older men. Like, I prefer it. And it was like night and day. The guy I was dating was in his 50s, and it was just like I just felt more comfortable with the idea that he's more experienced than me, and he has more life experience than me.
I've never been attracted to men my own age.
Right.
Even when I was younger, I never liked men who were my age. I look at men as my age as the same. Like, the age is the same, like, because I look at us as equals, and I don't want to be equal in my relationship. Man, yeah. You know what I mean? I have to date someone who I feel who is not only makes more than me, but also is ages me, because I feel like women already mature faster than men. So if we're the same age, we're actually more mature than they are.
Right.
We also age faster than they do. So that means that we could also look older than them, in a weird sense of that. But for me, it's harder for me to submit to a man I can't submit to a man that I feel is equal to me. If you have to be older than me for me to do that. And it's just, I'm not saying it can never happen. I'm just saying it's easier for me to let go of, to surrender and to let go of control when I know a guy who is much more wiser than I am, much more experienced, makes much more money than me, has been around the world at least 10 years older than me.
I feel like I'm more of like an old soul anyways. Like even like when we were younger.
I'm just old. Like, I'm an old-fashioned person.
Yeah, we're old-fashioned people in general. So when I meet a man who's in his 50s, it really kind of just balances out perfectly because, and I didn't realize that. I had always previously dated and been in serious relationships with men who are at least around my age or a couple of years older. And I don't know if I feel like I've never really connected in that way, but it seems like the moment I started dating someone that was older, like 10, 15 years older than me, it was like, oh, okay, so this feels like home. That felt very comfortable. The vibe was much better. I'm somebody who, like you say, like the submission part, like it's a little bit easier for me to submit to a man who's older because, again, he has more life experience.
I get asked out by a lot of men my age, and I actually think they should date younger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I actually do. I actually think they should date younger. Even though they prefer, to date me, I actually do prefer that they date younger because I think women in their 30s or even late 20s will submit to a man that's in his 40s differently than I will.
Yeah, right.
And like I dated a guy that went to school with my mom. And even though we weren't compatible, it was a lot easier for me to surrender to him because he was 62.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was okay with that. I felt okay with that. I felt like he knew more than me. So psychologically, I think it's better for women to have the submission part. I think it's better for women to be younger psychologically. I mean, for women psychologically, I think it is, and I think it helps men too.
Yeah, I think it helps
because
both.
I think that you can be the leader if you know that you truly are.
Correct.
And a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, but you can be older and still act young." That's true, but in general, and the average person, the average man that's in his 60s is going to act like a man in his 60s.
Yeah, and 50s
you know what I mean?
too. Yeah.
The average man in his 50s is going to act like a man in his 50s. The average man in his 40s is going to act like a man in his 40s. So if a woman is like 31, it's better if you date someone. To me, it's better that a woman date a man that's probably my age.
Yeah. I do think that men who are in their 40s, late 40s, I do think they should date women in their 30s. I do. I feel like it would be. I think the man will be happier.
Yeah.
Than dating a woman, maybe. I mean, I think so. I mean, everybody's different. Let me just say this real quick. I understand that everybody's individual and different, and what works. So I know, but we're talking about just on a nature level. You know, Kara and I also about nature and how things roll naturally to people. Even when we try to resist things that nature tells us to do, it still kind of comes up anyways. So I just think that men who are in their 40s would do better with a woman who's in their 30s. So whenever we get men who say, you know, like I always think it's, I don't want to say I'm like laughing at them, but when a 20-year-old or someone in their 20s tries to date me or wants to date me or ask me out, it is kind of like, oh, there's no way. Like I can have a son your age. Like I could literally, if I had children, I could have someone your age. So I'm like, no, I can't do that at all. But I do think that there's a certain connection I have with people who are older, you know, and it's just I feel like I just able to submit better to a man that is older.
I'm a very opinionated person in general.
That's another thing.
Like I have a sort of opinionated way of thinking, you know, an independent way of thinking sometimes. You know what I mean? And I do find that when I'm dating someone who's my age, which is rare for me, you know, dating someone my age, I feel like we're the same, and I talk to him as though we are the same. But I find that even with my personality, when I date someone who's at least 10 years old plus, I don't do it as much. I learn to be quiet more. I don't talk as much.
Right.
And I think that is just alpha behavior. When you know someone is alpha and they know more than you and they've been around longer than you and they make more than you and they've been more places than you, and you know, because
most men I know,
it makes me feel like maybe in the place I should be.
Yeah, because most men that I know, we've kind of, I mean, although we've all different walks of life, we all kind of done the same thing. We know the same things, you know what I mean? So it is kind of the sense of I don't learn. I don't feel that, I don't say I don't learn, but I just think that there is older men, because we are opinionated women. Yeah. You know what I mean? It kind of like puts us like a little bit in our place, but in a really good way. Yeah. Like, you know, like it does kind of quiet me down a bit. Yeah. You know, kind of the guy like that kind of shows me that, you know, like you're going to date a man in his 50s. Like he did kind of show me that, you know, like you don't know everything. You know, like I got some years on you, so like you don't know everything.
Right. Like I know that whenever I do date someone who's my age, I can correct them.
Oh no, you can.
And I correct them, and I don't even think twice about it. But when I'm with a guy who's older, and if I even think that he could be wrong about something, I don't correct him as quickly.
It's funny, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just because maybe I could be wrong. Suddenly I start to think that I might be, because he's just like, it's just a mental thing. Yeah. I actually had a guy on Facebook. He was a younger guy. He's cute. You know, he actually asked me out, and he was like 31. And
that's so young.
He thought I was younger. So he thought I was in my 30s too. So I said I didn't even date him because I told him I was in my 40s. And so he was just like, oh, well, but then that will be okay. I can still date a woman that's older. And, you know, he owns a business. He's a barber. Yeah. He owns he owns a business. He's doing well. Right. But I said I understand that. I said, but he's like, I think a lot of women think because I think a lot of older women think that younger men can't lead. I said you can't. Because I will never see you as a leader because I have years on you. First of all, women already mature faster than men, and I'm already older than you. So even though you don't think you are being young right now.
It takes a certain
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes a certain type of woman. There's a certain woman that will date young men, like these cougars. These women in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah, that's a certain type of woman.
Yeah, that date these younger men. Yeah. Like those women are different than I would say women like us, because a lot of times those women are more domineering. They are a little bit more controlling. Sometimes not even really necessarily in a bad way. I'm not meaning that in a bad way necessarily, but just the idea of being older and then the guy being younger. Naturally, what she's going to do is mother him.
Yeah.
Now, mother him, and you know what I mean? So it's just something natural that happens with women when you're dating someone much younger, which is why a lot of women who are like our age and date 20 and 30-year-olds, they feel they have a certain level up on them. So that's why they do that. And I don't want to have level up on my husband, my man. I don't want to make more money than him. I don't want him to be younger than me. I don't want any of that. I want the man that I'm with to be up on, you know what I mean, on different levels.
The head.
Yeah, to be literally the head
of the house, literally.
So it just makes me more comfortable, but it's like a certain woman to do that. We know people who are dating or even married to people who are younger, men who are much younger, and you know, they just.
But even the women that I know that are married, that are married to women, they're, you know, like women that are my age, they're married to men their own age. To me, there is no submission there.
No,
I can see
very
it.
Equal.
They're exactly the same. They both go to work. They both make the same money. Sometimes the women make more than them. They're more like companions.
Right.
And I am not, and I can't be aroused or attracted to a man that I don't feel can sort of, in a weird way, dominate me.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't be sexual with you unless I know
I have to feel that. Yeah.
Because like I said in a previous video, men have to get to us psychologically. Yeah. We have to get to them physically. Yeah. So the thing is that's why it's also better for women to be younger, because we also we age faster physically. Yeah. We age faster. So, you know, to a man that's in his 60s, I'm going to look. I'm not going to look like a woman in her 60s.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just the same thing here. It's just like, if you can't get to me, like men my own age can't get to me sexually.
And also when you think about, like I don't know if you think about this, but with femininity, I think that it does make a woman a bit more feminine when she's with an older man, when she's with a man who's much older than her. When I say much older, I'm going to say around 10 plus years older.
10 plus,
yeah, I would say 10 plus. When we're talking about older men, we're talking about 10 plus years older than what we are, or what the woman is. So when I think that it makes a woman a little bit more feminine because she's able to be a little bit more meek. Yeah. Because he's clearly older than her. He knows he's gonna know more because he's seen more, he's done more, you know. So there's a part of woman where she does kind of I hate saying these kind of words, but I don't mean it in a bad way, but like kind of stifle a bit and be able to let him take the lead and her kind of just be the helpmate to it. I just think that it feminizes women a little bit more in a really good way. I do. I think it's a really good balance.
it makes you submit.
Yeah.
Once you submit, you are in your feminine. You're in your feminine energy.
That's the most feminine.
That's the most feminine you can do.
Yeah.
So the only way a woman can be submit to any man is if she feels like he can take care of her.
I agree with
and
that.
Protect her and provide for her and knows a little bit more than her and can take that lead. And that's the only time a woman will give up her her leadership of her single self to let some guy come in and if she psychologically feels that way.
Right.
If I feel like we're the same, then I don't feel
well, I don't feel sexually
in a way that helps with the provide and protect thing, because psychologically I don't feel that I can't do something you can't do. Like you know what I mean? When I start feeling like we're more friends.
Kara was saying that we all know people are going to go, oh my God, there's so many, you know, immature older men, but when
that's true. No,
that's
true.
very true. That is true. We do know that. We know some.
But I'm talking about the average.
The average
man that's 40 acts 40. The average man that's 50 acts 50. The average man. Of course, there's always going to be people on the spectrum that don't, you know, fall in those categories. But there are also times when women can be smarter than men.
Yeah.
On some things, you know what I mean. But to me, it's not even about that. It's about my submitting part, the part of where I feel like I have to believe on some level. Because like I said, whenever I've dated men who were my age, the dates have always been great. Yeah. But I've always came out of it, even if they don't come out of it feeling like we're just friends, I always do. Right. You know what I mean? But when I date men who are older, I notice that my point of view all the time starts to stifle a little bit. Like I'm not as quick to run my mouth.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
I'm not. I'm a little bit more at ease. Like I did talk to one guy. I was like, because I said no, I would never date anybody because he was in his 30s. mid-30s, like it was like 30, I think it was like 34. And he was like, what about it is makes you feel, I said, well, it makes you feel like it's too young. I'm like, well, honestly, you need to think about it on your end too as a man, that is that age and wanting to date someone that's much older, a woman's much older. I said, because there are things you have to take into account too. Do you want children? It's not that I can't have children. When you're younger, obviously if you're a younger male and you want to have a family, it wouldn't be ideal. It's not that it can't happen. I'm just looking out for the guys, but it wouldn't be ideal for you to date someone who is in their late 40s or even 50s. Some men want to date to the 50s. Women in their 50s. I'm like, if you want a family, it would be more. I would feel like it'd be more logical. He's like, well, I'm not really sure I even want kids. I said, yeah. And I was telling Carey about this earlier. I remember Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore when they first started seeing each other, and they were married. Yeah, they're married. He said the same thing, that he didn't want kids, and all of her kids were like his kids, and he was fine with that for the rest of his life. He was going to be okay with it. And so fast forward, they get the divorce, and he has said since then that he does want kids, and he has them.
Yeah, he's got two. He's got from that '70s show. The girl that played his girlfriend.
Kunis.
Mila
Kunis. So this is what I'm trying to tell men out there that are young and are wanting to date older women. If you just that alone, you really have to think about that. Don't just haphazardly. And so even like with the Ashton Kutcher situation, like he wanted children, and Demi was in her late 40s at the time.
Yeah, she was almost 50.
Yeah, she was almost 50 at the time, and he did not want kids at all. He said he did, and I'm like, yeah, but you really have to take that into account. So I'm always thinking about stuff like that, So I told the guy I was talking to in the comments, I was like, you have to think about things in the long run too. You have to try to think in the future too of what you want. Because that could be a big deal breaker for you later on. You may later on feel like you do want children and you want a lot of them, and we know there's a lot of women out here who are in their 40s and stuff that have children. It's it's whatever. But idealistically, if you're a younger male, you probably want to have somebody. And so this guy was like, this guy was commenting about it. He said, he's 34. I just cannot date women my age, he refuses to date 20-year-olds, women in their 20s. And I'm like, he's saying that, and I can kind of, I understand where he's coming from. I know the women in their 20s, a lot of them are different now. I mean, they're very different. They're very, you see the Instagram girls. Basically, they're all in that kind of world of social media, and their maturity level is not there, but they are in their 20s. Yeah. But I feel like the social media stuff has really made people even more immature. Even people our age are a bit more immature than they used to be. So he's like, I don't want to date anybody in their 20s. And I'm like, well, I think that's probably best for you. Someone who's late 20s.
Also, I mean, personally, I don't think that even if I were to have a child with someone who was like 35, I wouldn't want my kids to see me as the older one.
Yeah, again, I still want
the guy
that
again, it would look like I'm leading the house.
I don't want that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I just think that it's better for the psyche. For women to be much younger. So I've actually had guys who are my age, and they always go, "Why don't you date someone younger?" Like I have said that.
Yeah.
And they don't want to date young.
They don't want to date younger women.
I go, why not? And they're just like, because younger women are this and younger women are that. I'm like, yeah, but it's going to be a lot easier for that woman to submit to you than it is for me to submit, because I'm not going to. And it's going to be. I'm not saying that it can never happen. I'm not saying that I can never date a guy, because believe me, I've met some guys my age that are submission worthy. I guess you know what I mean,
But it's not about that.
But still, it's just like there's just something about older men that I just gravitate to quicker.
Yeah.
And that I'm willing to submit quicker. And that, like I'm saying, like even with the child thing, most men already have kids.
Yeah.
So whether I can have one or not, he won't be running out on, he won't be missing out on
his life.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It would just be my game.
Right.
Or his game. But I'm just saying, he wouldn't be missing. I wouldn't want to date someone that's younger than me anyway, because just like even when you were talking to the guy, already he's starting to be like, but why?
But why?
And so I'm saying, see how I'm saying, like see how I'm already giving you non-submission vibes.
Well, and then that's funny. You're saying that.
Right.
Yeah, because I was like, well, but see, I'm
conversation
already
itself,
teaching you. I said,
Right.
so I told the guy, I was like, you know, he's a very nice person too, by the way. But I'm just saying that even within that small little chat that we were having, I'm teaching him. I'm just naturally. I'm older. I have more experience. You know, I know what I want. I know who I am. I know where I'm going.
Right.
Right. And so I'm sure he does too on some level. But when it comes to the dating and the relationship thing, it's like he's not even thinking about the future.
But if
I told him, I said, but see, the immaturity of you is not thinking about the future. I'm thinking about it for you. I'm telling you, if you like, especially with the kids thing, I'm telling you for even the kids situation, the child stuff, I'm like, you really got to think about that. And I'm like, so here I am. This is what will happen if we were in a relationship. I'm older and I'm teaching you things. I don't want that.
But if
I want to learn from my husband.
If I had a son that was like 30, I would tell him to date a younger woman.
Oh, no, 100%.
I would say date someone who is probably about 8 years younger than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I had a daughter, I would say date someone about 8 to 10 years older than you. Because first of all, financially, he'll have more. And if you ever want to have a child, you won't have to work.
Right.
So it's better for men who already are well in their career, who already have money and can take care of a family, and you won't really get that out of any man that's your age. You're going to get it more from men that's 10 years older than him, older than you. So it's just the same thing here. It never ends.
Yeah.
Even as you get older, it still never ends. Even when I was 18, I dated guys who were almost 30. When I was 20, I dated men who were, 35. When I was 35, I dated men that were almost 50. I mean, for me, I just have always dated older.
What I love now, but it's funny because men that gravitate to me are all men my age. You notice this? Like in my life, like the men that gravitate to me are usually all men my age. It's just started happening where men who are older, which I'm very happy about. Men who are like 10 plus years older than me are now gravitating to me more, which I really, really love. Because I'm about to be my birthday's in July, but I'm about to be 44 years old, so it just makes me more comfortable with that. But also there's another part of it is that I kind of like assumed roles. You know what I mean? And we always talk about like roles in relationships, and I think that natural roles in relationships are the woman being more submissive and the man being the alpha in the family and taking care of everyone, everything. And I think that part of that is a lot of that is with age. The roles will automatically kind of naturally be assumed because he's older and you're a bit younger. So it all goes back to the submission thing. It's a little bit easier and more comfortable to submit to a man who does literally know more than you.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, even like it is. When you go to, that's why people get weird when you go to, this is kind of off subject, but like people get uncomfortable when they go to a doctor or physician and the physician is young, just out of medical school. A lot of times people, they don't see an older man walk in or older woman walk in, at least an older period walk in, they feel weird. Because they're going to, it's not that they don't know. The doctor's a doctor,
you just
right?
feel like they're more experienced. Yeah.
So it's kind of like what I feel like here is like just walking into a situation where the man is older, and then I just automatically know, and it's always been proven right, that he's going to know more. And he's going to be able to tell me a little bit about like how to, like, Danielle, you don't know everything. And I kind of need some of that. Like I kind of need a guy to be like,
I think all women do.
Yeah, to be hushed up a little bit.
All women need a guy.
We talk a lot.
All women need a man. Who's more. Who is the
put the foot down?
Put their foot down.
Yeah, put the foot down.
And like again, women aren't going to submit to a man that they don't feel is mentally sort of superior.
That's true.
On a psychological level, that's just the way that it is. You know what I mean? And I think that it's just better in the relationship in general for men to be dominant in almost every area, because I feel like you have the household when you can do that. You know what I mean? Women who date younger men, that's a certain type of woman. Like Jennifer Lopez, she only dates younger men besides A-Rod.
And now they're
broken up. You know, I mean, Madonna always dated younger men. Tina Turner dates younger men. Halle Berry dated younger men, and they all break up. Why? Because it's just not natural.
The role wasn't.
You know what I mean? It's not natural for women, and these are all beautiful women, but it's just not natural for women to lead masculinity.
Yeah.
It's not. Masculinity is not supposed to be in submission to femininity. It's just not. You know what I mean? And so whenever these women get in a relationship, they always have a whole bunch of these young men.
Yeah.
Because these guys eventually are going to...
And those women are always more, like we said in the beginning, they're always going to be more they're always mother-like to these men. And
just dominating.
Not even meaning to be. They just, and it's funny, 'cause when you're on the outside looking in at these relationships, these women who are older dating these younger men, like you see the mother vibe come up. Like she can't even help it. She doesn't even know that she's doing it.
Most of the women, these are alpha female women in general.
Yeah.
These are women who are high on their career.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm using celebrity women as it, because a lot of the problems that celebrity women have is that they make so much money that a lot of men get turned off by that because they want to be the one that makes the most.
Yeah.
And so it becomes harder for them to date when you're like 100 millionaire.
Yeah.
And most men aren't making that. And so a lot of these women end up dating younger men, and what ends up happening is those guys, they leave them.
Yeah.
I think both of Halle Berry's fathers of both her kids are younger than her.
Right. They
are
like
models. You know what I mean? And so it's just the same thing with Tina Turner. It's the same thing with Elizabeth Taylor. Was the same thing with her.
That's a woman who likes a man to submit to them.
Tina Turner got beat up by Ike, so it's probably why she dates younger men and white men. You know what I mean? But then, Halle Berry, I think Madonna dates, like, these are dominating women. And so there are a lot of women like that are very dominating in their career, dominating their life, and they want a man to do what they say. And so in order to get a man to do what you say, he almost has to be younger than you.
He does have to be younger.
So he can fall in line. Most men that are your age are not going to do that.
Yeah, like he either has to be younger than her, or he has to be unsuccessful in his career. So even if he is her age or whatever, if he's unsuccessful financially or whatever, career-wise, and she has to trump him. Women like that have that kind of domineering sense to them, they have to one up the person they're with, and if it's not with their age, they're gonna one up you with their money. And that's usually what happens. I mean, we can just be. I mean, we're just gonna be blatant about it. I mean, we can sit here and beat around the bush you want to, but that is what happens. These kinds of women, they are dominating.
It's better
women.
when women make less, and it's better when men are older. You know, what's his name? Who was the guy that was married to Mariah Carey? The black guy, the father of her kids.
Oh, Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon said, he told Vlad, he said Mariah, because she was dating that billionaire.
Yeah.
Okay, so he stopped seeing Mariah because she was like, why do you think that is? Because he actually makes more than her. He said, why? He said, because when you're in Mariah's world, you become into her world. And he's a dominant man that's making $1 billion. He's not going into some woman's world. You know what I mean? So he stopped seeing her because she socially trumped him.
Okay.
So see what I'm saying? Like,
but she has to trump him somehow.
In some way, everything, even though he made more than her in a way, it was just like, even because she was famous.
No, she was more successful.
She was more successful outwardly.
Nick Cannon is successful in his own right, but he's not more successful than Mariah Carey.
Right.
He's just not.
But even the billionaire guy felt like she was more successful outwardly, so he was becoming a part of her music world, and he didn't want to become a part of her world.
Right.
You have to come to a man's world. You can't. A woman can't go to a. You know what I'm saying? So a woman can't go. To me, a woman can't. It's like when men live in a different state. Say you meet a guy, and it's better if you don't want a guy to say, "I'll come to you," to live. Because most of his career needs to be where he is, which means you have to go to him.
We had
to go to his world.
We had a comment from, I feel like his name is Michael. I might be wrong, but I might be wrong about that. But he made a comment recently where he said, Stedman. He said Stedman broke the #1 man rule. You don't go live in a woman's home. She needs to come to your home, and I 1,000% agree with that.
Yeah.
Whoever commented on that, I'll try to find that comment. But whoever said that, as a woman, I 100 wholeheartedly agree with that. So
it's like, even like I was watching this life coach, this lady, she was saying that she's like, women are the house, women are the home, men are the house.
Yes.
So you are always coming into his life.
I agree with this.
And then we make their life better, but they are the foundation, of it, and that's how it has to be. She's like, that's the, and that's the reason why I think men need to be older, and that's why I think men need to make more, is because I do think that in order for a woman to submit to you, she's going to have to feel some reason to do it, or she's going to have to, you know what I mean? Like, it's psychologically, she's going to have to feel some reason to do it, because if she doesn't feel that, if she feels like you're equal, then it's going to be hard for her to say, okay,
because then she'll just be like, I'm doing that too.
I'm doing that too.
And I know I know that seems crazy, but that is just how mentally it will work out. Like, you can try it if you want to, but mentally this is how it kind of works out. There are the select few women, obviously, that are able to just be more successful than their husbands, and this is a very rare situation, by the way, guys. But where a woman's more successful than her husband, she's a little bit older or maybe the same age, and then she just still submits to him. There are women like that in this world that do exist, but it is extremely rare. Where it works out more naturally, in my opinion, and I guess in Kara's opinion, is when it's just when a man is seen as the patriarch, seen as in a way like the father. In every situation, though, there's always the exception. Yeah, always the exception. But most is the rule. You know what I mean? And so, I agree with that. I believe that there's these women that are in these celebrity women, they are way too pretty to be alone. And a lot of them are alone because they just make too much money. And most of them are dating men that are much too young for them. You know what I mean? So I think it's just better on a level of for everyone. I think it's better, you know what I mean? Like I said, I've actually told guys who wanted to date me that I'm like, because we become friends. I know. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, why don't you ever want to date a woman that's like 10 years younger than you? Because she will submit to you. Yeah. And I've had so many great, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I'm done. Yeah. No, I was going to say, I've actually had some really great don't get me wrong, I've had great conversations with men that are my age or slightly older. Like, I've had great conversations with those men. There's really honestly nothing wrong with it at all. It's just that, to me, when I date someone who's in their 50s, I'm a different woman. Like, I can have a great conversation with someone in their 20s. I feel like I'm being I feel like I'm able to just kind of relax. Tell us what you think about that. Are you a male who would date someone who's older? If you're a female, would you date a younger man? How do you feel about that whole thing? Because I'm not, I can't get into it. A younger guy. But yeah, let us know what you think about that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below. Let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, you guys. We really appreciate all of your support, and we will see you later. All right, bye guys.